let's think about, right? So you have a UI, right? And you basically try to register. Okay. First thing first, before diving into this particular problem, when we say that, okay, we'll keep the DB restricted, will not let anybody access it, that's okay. We try to do that. But does it always work? Recently, SDFC has data leak. There are like, 10 or 100 of companies, data gets leaked every month or every year. And there even company valuation goes down because of those, problems. So there is a one thumb rule, that every company follows, is that if it is on the internet, it is not safe. You can never think that, okay, I can put a VPN, I can put a restrictions. There is always a way to, bypass those things. And that's how these hackers try to find out the means and ways. It could be because of the lapses from the developer side. It could be the lapses from the networking team side. There could be various reasons, okay? But whatever there on the internet is not safe. So if we say that, okay, we'll keep the DB restricted, will not allow anybody to touch it or whatever, right? That is not going to help, because that will not help in the long run. It could compromise later as well. And we still need to have a means through which, even if they gain the access to the database, okay, then the first thing is we should not make that easy. Suppose they get the hold of the database, it will be a useless data for them. How we can do that? Okay, that is what our intention should be. That, okay, fine, first they should not enter into our system itself. They should not get the access to our DB. Even if they get it, they should not, the data should not be any use for them. And how do we do it? We'll check now. Okay, so you do a UI registration, you put your username and your password, right? And then this is your server. And then server says, fine, this is our DB. And we are going to have a user table, right? Where you have a user ID, then the password, and whatever timestamp and other metadata, whatever you want to keep it. Now, this will be absolutely a wrong idea, right? Everybody agrees with that, right? This will not be a good thing, because you directly store the username and password in plain text. Just assume the Facebook, right? When we say that we are storing the credentials in plain text, any developer, some or other people will have the access, right? They will definitely have the access. How can they can work on that? So somebody will have, some database management team or someone will have the access. They can easily go and remember your credentials, and they can go ahead and use it in the UI, and they can log in, they can impersonate, or they can share with their friends and whatever they can do. So that is compromised, and this is not at all used. So this design is absolutely wrong. Okay, we should not be storing the credentials in plain text. Even though we put some restrictions on the database, even though we put a VPN and all that, that is not going to help. Okay, fine. So if this doesn't work, the second thing which comes in the place is that what we will do is we will take the username and the password. Okay, we'll pass it to a hashing. I will talk about hashing after consistent hashing topic when right after this one, when we start, we'll talk the first thing about hashing. What are the various ways to do the hashing? What are the best practices to do the hashing? So username and password, when you do the hashing, so what we will do, so the username will keep as it is. The password is what we will do a hash. Okay, so there are various hashes, are there. It could be that you build your own algorithm, right? Or you can do some standard one, MD5, SHA. Now, if you build own, it could be that you might end up with a collision that your hashing is not really a good algorithm. It's not written well, and you end up with same hashing, and then you might end up with a collision problem and those things. In order to avoid that, people will start using some MD5 and SHA, which kind of bit 128 bit. It's like a 32 or 64 or 128 characters, random alphanumeric. Just a second, guys. Some noise is coming. Let me just check the doors. Yeah, we are good. So what we will do is we will be generating using the MD5 and SHA encryption message digest, and we will be generating something like 62, 30, 32, 64, or 128 alphanumeric character. Now, if you are not aware of MD5 and SHA, read about it. These are called message digest, and SHA is called the encryption SHA encryption algorithms. It's nothing but it uses your input. So it's like you use something like, suppose your password is hello, 1, 2, 3. So you just call the MD5 method, digest method on that, and it will generate something like a 5x3q something like that. Okay. So they use some bitwise shifting and they do some random operations and make a message digest, and it is unique. Okay. First, it is unique. Second, it is non-reversible in nature. Non-reversible in nature means whatever the output comes, you can never get back the original value. Okay, so you will never be able to get what was the password. Was it hello 1 2 3 or what? You cannot do that. It's non-reversible process. Okay, so you generate this one, you're good. So what you did, okay, fine. So this is my server, this is my UI. So you did a registration, and then you generated the hashing, and then you said, fine, what I'll do is I'll put into the user table our username as Peter, and the password I'll keep it as that one, AB12XYZ, whatever. Okay. Now, what are things we have covered with this, right? So we have solved one problem, that user will not be, even if you get the access to the DB, people will not be able to use your credentials. So the developers or any any developers or anything, if they want to do some wrongdoing, or any employee, they got the access, this will not be useful for them, because this will be like, so what will happen with this is, even if they get the hold of this password, they cannot do anything with this. Reason being is, let's see how. So you have done a registration, we have restored Peter and this value here, and this original password is lost. Okay, nobody knows about what was the original password, okay, given by this. Now what will happen? User will try to log in. So user will log in, and they log in with Peter and hello 1 2 3 as password. So it will come here again, it will go through that message digest, and it will use this hello 1 2 3. Then for the same string, the MD5 and SHA always produce the same value. So this will produce the same value, AB12 XYG value, right? And then it will make a DB query. It will check whether the Peter user and this password exist in the system or not. If they say yes, then you are through. If not, you are not through. So you got the hold of this value. Now what you will do, you will try to log in. You will try to log in with Peter and that value, AB123XYZ. That value will go through this process. It will generate some new SHA or MD5 message digest, some new value that will never match with that value. Okay, so you are safe in this way. Everybody agrees on this? I mean, did you get the point? What we can do to avoid that plain text password, right? So this is the one thing we have saved. Now there is still one more challenge is there with this technique. Okay, we are safe with this, right? But still there is a problem, right? The problem is with the MD5 and SHA, the same string, right? The same string produce the same hash code. So by looking at the pattern of the hash code, like suppose external company get the hold of some hackers, get the hold of the database. Okay, they got these credentials. Now what they will do is they will generate all the common passwords, like hello 1 2 3, password, keyboard 1 2 3 4, and whatever, right? And they will generate the SHA and MD5 keys, and they can do a brute force comparison, and the probability of ending up the hitting the the chances which has been proven by the internet is that wherever there is a consumer facing applications, even after multiple repetitions of reminders to the people, they still use the most common. I think you might be seeing a news that these are the top 20 common passwords which has been kept by the users, and those are like password 1 2 3 hello and all that, right? So people still use common passwords, who has difficulty in remembering it, right? And we can't avoid that. We can maybe put some enforcement on the UI side while registering that, hey, while registering itself have a special character, alphanumeric and all that. But the problem is, the main consumer facing applications, they don't tend to put strict guidelines. Reason being is then the user might lose the interest, and they will not be able to access the system, and they don't want that. They want users to be onboarded, so they have an easy way to have that, right? And not only that, there could be a system which is from their past 20 years when the checks were not present. Their credentials are still there in the simple format like ABC 1 2 3 and all that. So what they will do is they will generate those SHA and MD5 credentials out of it, and they'll compare it, and there are, like, if 1 million records, the chances that at least 1,000 to 2,000 users can be compromised easily. Okay, so that is one of the problem with this approach as well. Okay, how do we solve this problem? So the ultimate solution any company uses for maintaining the actual credential system, the password in the system, is they use message. So what they use is something called salt. How many of you have heard about a concept called salt?
Yes, I've heard about it.
Yeah. So what do we do is, the salt is basically, so let's see what we do. Okay. So we have a server 1, server 2, server 3. What do we do is we basically store salt on all the machines. We store that, okay, our salt. I'm just giving you a hypothetical example. The salt is basically alphanumeric, special characters, and a lot of other things. So the salt is like my pass key. Okay, so my pass key. So what you did is basically you have stored this particular value on the machine, on the disk. Okay, my pass key on one config file or somewhere on the server, on the machine. Okay, now and so now what will happen? See here. So from the load balancer, this will get hit. The UI is here. So you did a registration. Any of this machine will get hit. Okay. Now what they will do is this server one, right? It will take the password. It will add the salt, and then they will apply this MD5 or SHA on top of it. Okay. And whatever the value gets produced, they put directly into the database. Okay. Then when they log in, again, the user will log in with that hello 123. It will use the passkey. So it will be like hello 123 plus the passkey. It will generate the MD5 SHA. It will check against the DB, and it will match the credentials, and they will be able to let it through. Okay. Now, how are we preventing this from the usual way, right? What are the ways? How we are going to prevent this detail with that one, right? So let's see that. So what do we do is we compromise the database. Okay, this is compromised, and somebody got the access to this, and they are able to see the SHA and MD5. There is no way that they can get to this value, because the generated value always has been mixed with the salt, and they don't have the salt. Okay. Now it is possible that if they got the access to DB, they also can get the access to servers as well. In that case, God help that company, right? So there is no way we can do anything in that case, right? So it is highly unlikely that they can get the access to DB as well, the server as well, because this could be on some other network zone, this could be on some other network zone. So what we are trying to do is, our security measure should only make things more and more difficult for the hacker to be hacked. Okay, the intention for the security team of any company is not to actually make it 100% secure. That's what people say is impossible on the internet. What they try to do is they try to make things as difficult as possible, right? So what we have done, we have increased the difficulty level to a great extent now, right? Because initially it was plain text, anybody can get it. Second, we did SHA, then still there is a chances that they can get the hold of database and they can run the brute force and find out. The third one, what we have done is we are now using the my passkey and do that way. Now there are other ways as well, like these my passkey, you can keep rotating it, and the way we do the rotation is you will have timestamp based the bigger companies do something like that, right? And they keep changing it, and they keep rehashing the passwords and updating their database and all that. So those kind of rotation happens as well. Now you might be seeing one interesting point, right? When you try to reset the password, you will never, when you try to reset a password, right? You might be seeing that they ask you that, okay, hey, reset a password. You put a username, and they say, okay, you might have received a link in your email, or you might got the OTP, and once you fill it up, you land to a page where they say, okay, set a new password. It never tells you what your password was, because they themselves don't know. The system, once you have registered, nobody knows the password except you. So if you have forgot your password, it is the only option is that you have to reset it, because nobody knows it, right? The system can't give you, it's a junk value, right? It's a irreversible thing. So nobody knows what was your password, right? So, and nobody will be storing that password anywhere. So it is gone. Any website, there are few websites where if you go and do a reset password, they send the password, what was your password, in your email or message you. That means do not trust that particular website, because they are storing the credentials somewhere by any means which can be compromised and can be decrypted and used. Okay, it could be that they are using the my passkey and all that to send you back those credentials, but in that case their encryption would be reversible in nature. That's why they are able to decrypt it and send it back to you. It is not a trustworthy website. Do not trust those websites and stay away from such. But I've seen there are a few government websites are there where if you do a reset, you'll get the credentials back in your system.